For a lot of businesses, picking a vendor feels like a chore, right? A necessary evil. But what if I told you it's actually one of your biggest untapped strategic advantages? In the next few minutes, we're going to totally reframe how you look at suppliers, turning simple transactions into powerful partnerships that can future-proof your business. Let's dive in.
All right, so let's kick things off with a really big question. When you choose a new vendor, are you just making a purchase, or are you making a strategic move? How you answer this one thing, well, it pretty much determines the future resilience and quality of your entire business.
And you've got to understand this key distinction. Purchasing is tactical. It's like grabbing groceries. You just buy what you need right now. But vendor selection, that's strategic. It's this thoughtful, long-term process of choosing a true partner, and that takes some serious research and relationship building.
And that is exactly why this matters so much. A well-executed vendor selection process isn't just about snagging a good price. It's about building a solid foundation for success, ensuring quality, reliability, and creating a supply chain that can weather any storm.
So how do we actually do this right? Well, it all starts with Section 1, from need to shortlist. This part is all about laying the proper groundwork so you're set up for success from the get-go. This first phase has 3 super clear goals. First, we're going to get crystal clear on what you actually need. Second, we'll cast a really wide net to see who's even out there. And third, we'll use a powerful tool to weed out the serious contenders from, well, everyone else.
Okay, step 1 is absolutely crucial. Before you can even think about finding the right partner, you have to know exactly what problem you're trying to solve. Just look at this example. An organic clothing company doesn't just go, hey, we need fabric. No way. They get super specific, defining the fabric weight, the certifications, the quantity, even the target cost. This kind of clarity just prevents so many headaches down the line.
Okay, with your needs clearly defined, we move to step 2, research. Now you're building what we call a long list. And at this stage, you're not judging too harshly. You're just trying to identify every potential supplier that could fit the bill through industry research, referrals, and trade shows. Think of it like casting a wide net. So you've got this big list. How do you sort through it all? Well, that brings us to a really key tool, the RFP, or Request for Proposal. Now, this isn't just some quick email asking for a price. It's a formal document where you lay out all your detailed requirements and ask vendors to come back with a comprehensive proposal explaining exactly how they're going to meet them. And this is where you see the power of the RFP in action. For step 3, you send it out to your long list. And believe me, the quality of the proposals you get back, it'll immediately separate the serious players, helping you funnel that big list down to a much more manageable, short list of your top 3 candidates. All right, on to Section 2. You've got your top 3 candidates, and this, my friends, is where the most important work happens, the critical evaluation. We are moving way beyond the sales pitch and the price tag to find out who the true best fit is. Step 4 is all about a balanced evaluation. And the big takeaway here is to never focus on just one thing. You've got to score vendors across a whole range of criteria. And that means looking beyond the sticker price to the total cost, getting your hands on physical samples to test quality, actually picking up the phone and calling their references to check on reliability, and making sure their ethical standards line up with your own. So I mentioned total cost of ownership, or TCO, and it's a concept that's totally worth pausing on for a second. It means you calculate the entire cost of a purchase over its whole life cycle. A vendor might have a cheaper price per unit, right? But if their shipping is crazy expensive or their quality is shoddy, their TCO could actually be way, way higher. Okay, so you've done your homework, you've scored your vendors, and you have a winner. Now we enter Section 3, sealing the deal. And listen, the goal here isn't to crush the other side. It's all about creating a win-win partnership. Step 5 is the negotiation. So based on your evaluation scores, you pick the best vendor and you start to hammer out the details of the contract. You're looking for terms that benefit both sides. In our clothing company example, this means agreeing on the contract length, payment terms, and, this is a big one, clear penalties if quality or delivery standards aren't met. So the contract is signed, and you might think, phew, the job is done. But it's not. Not even close. This brings us to our final section, from contract to partnership, because the journey doesn't end at the signature. In fact, it's really just beginning. This last phase involves 2 really critical steps, integration and management. First, in step 6, you'll properly onboard your new partner.
Then, for step 7, you begin the ongoing work of monitoring their performance to make sure the relationship really thrives.
Onboarding is all the practical work that makes the partnership actually operational. Look, this stuff isn't glamorous, but it is absolutely essential. You get them into your payment systems, you integrate them with your software, you introduce the key people on both teams who will be working together day to day, and finally, you place that first official order. A smooth start here prevents so many future headaches.
And that brings us to step 7, where we have to admit the work is never really done. The best partnerships are the ones that are actively managed. And the key tool for this is what's called a Supplier Scorecard, which you use to continuously monitor specific key performance indicators, or KPIs.
So what do you track? Simple, the things that matter most. For our clothing company, that would be stuff like the on-time delivery rate and the product defect rate. You track this data, and then you meet regularly, maybe quarterly, to review performance. This is what keeps everyone accountable and turns what could be just a transaction into a true collaboration.
So, as we wrap up, let's circle right back to where we started. The whole goal of this 7-step process is to shift your mindset. You're not just buying something. You are building a strategic, resilient, and really valuable long-term partnership that's going to strengthen your entire business.
Which leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Take an honest look at your own company's process. Is it really designed to build powerful partnerships, or are you just creating a paper trail?